Before time itself had a name, before kingdoms rose and fell, the universe held its breath. Stars drifted through an endless night. Galaxies swirled in silent majesty, and from this cosmic stillness, sacred sounds began to take shape on the banks of a tranquil river. The great sage, Maharishi Valmiki, sat in deep meditation. He wasn't just a wise man. He was a witness, a scribe chosen by destiny itself. The story of Dharma, the very law of cosmic order, was about to be born through him, and from the heavens, the celestial sage Narada Muni descended, the music from his Veena echoing through the forest. He stood before Valmiki and began to speak, his voice filled with reverence. He spoke of a man unlike any other who had ever walked the earth. A man, Narada said, who would be Dharma personified. A son, a king, a warrior, a mortal, yet utterly divine. This man was Rama, the Maryada Purushottama, the perfect man. As Valmiki listened, transfixed, history took its very first breath. The story then shifts to Ayodhya, a city glowing like a jewel under the golden sun. Its streets were vibrant, its people filled with joy, its temples radiating peace. At the heart of this magnificent kingdom stood the palace of King Dasharatha, the noble ruler of the Ikshvaku dynasty. His reign was just, his kingdom prosperous, his people content. Yet behind the grandeur of his court, the king's heart carried a deep and silent sorrow. We see King Dasharatha alone on his throne, the vast, opulent halls echoing with emptiness. He possessed immense power, unimaginable wealth, and the highest honor. But the one thing he longed for, he did not have: an heir. Without a son to carry on his legacy, the future of his dynasty, and indeed the future of Dharma, seemed to tremble on the brink of uncertainty. To challenge fate, Dasharatha resolved to perform the sacred Putrakamesti Yajna, a powerful fire ritual to ask the gods for a son. Sages from across the land gathered, their ancient chants rising with the smoke. The fire roared, reaching towards the heavens as if delivering the king's plea directly to the cosmos. And then, from the heart of the blazing flames, a divine being emerged. He held a golden vessel filled with payasa, a celestial nectar of destiny. The king's queens received this divine offering, and at that moment, the great wheel of fate began to turn. Unprecedented joy erupted across Ayodhya. In the royal chambers, Queen Kausalya held a newborn child, whose skin glowed with a soft, divine light. The gods themselves watched from the heavens, showering blessings upon the earth. Rama was born. Soon after, his brothers arrived: Bharata, Lakshmana, and Shatrughna. Dharma had finally entered the world, not with a clap of thunder or a show of force, but with the innocent, disarming smile of a child. Years passed, and the princes grew. In the serene forest ashram, the Gurukula, a young Rama and his devoted brother Lakshmana trained under the guidance of the great Guru Vasishta. The sharp twang of bowstrings and the resonant chanting of scriptures filled the air. Here they learned not just the arts of war, but the deeper values of duty, honor, and righteousness. Lakshmana was always by Rama's side, his shadow, his protector. His loyalty wasn't just brotherly affection, it was a living vow, a promise made flesh. One fateful day, a powerful sage, the formidable Vishwamitra, arrived at the gates of Ayodhya. His presence commanded immediate respect. He explained that his sacred yajnas, his fire rituals, were being desecrated by fearsome demons. His request was simple, yet world-changing. "I need Rama," he declared. King Dasharatha's heart froze with fear for his young son. But the call of Dharma does not wait for comfort or convenience. Without hesitation, Rama stepped forward, calm, obedient, and utterly fearless. The first steps of his epic journey had begun. Rama, Lakshmana, and Vishwamitra walked into the deep, ancient forest. Beams of sunlight pierced through the dense canopy of trees that had stood for centuries. The air was quiet, almost too quiet. It was a silence filled with unseen dangers. This was not merely a journey through a physical landscape. It was a journey into the heart of destiny itself, where the path of the hero would be forged in trial and adversity. Suddenly, the eerie silence was shattered. Darkness erupted from the shadows as the monstrous demoness Tataka roared, her very breath spreading destruction and fear. She was a force of pure chaos. But Rama, a boy in form but a god in spirit, calmly raised his bow. With a single, perfectly aimed arrow, he made his first decisive stand for Dharma. A brilliant flash of light exploded through the darkness, and the great evil fell. The forest breathed a sigh of relief. Their path then led them to a desolate, silent hermitage. Near it lay a stone, seemingly forgotten by time, covered in moss and dust. Vishwamitra explained its sad story. Rama, guided by the sage, stepped forward and gently touched the stone with his foot. In an instant, a wave of golden light flooded the clearing. The cold stone transformed into a woman, Ahalya, now freed from a long and painful curse. Her form was restored, her spirit liberated. On that day, it became clear that even stone could remember grace when Rama walked the earth. Finally, the journey brought them to the vibrant kingdom of Mithila. The city was abuzz with excitement for the Swayamvara of its beloved princess, Sita. The challenge was immense. To win her hand, a suitor had to lift and string the colossal bow of Lord Shiva. Mighty kings and legendary warriors tried, but they all failed, unable to even move it. Then, Rama stepped forward. With serene grace, he lifted the divine bow. As he strung it, the immense tension was too great, and the bow shattered with a sound that shook the very earth. Sita, her heart recognizing its divine counterpart, lovingly placed the wedding garland around Rama's neck. In that moment, Dharma found its perfect partner. The divine masculine and feminine were united. As Rama and Sita made their triumphant return to Ayodhya, flowers rained down from the heavens, and the people celebrated with joyous abandon. And so, the BalaKanda, the Book of Childhood, comes to a close. But this is not an ending. It is merely the beautiful, hopeful beginning of a destiny that would test the gods, the world, and humanity itself. When Dharma takes human form, the world is never the same again. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for the next chapter of this epic story.